How do you think Brodie Croft looked today?
Thought he looked like Brodie Croft, but in a better coloured jersey.
Leeds have won back-to-back Rugby League titles. The golden generation finally has its golden fleece. No England game, it seems, is complete without a Ryan Hall try. Jamie Peacock.
Kevin Sinfield.
Rob Burrow. Jamie Jones Buchanan for Leeds.
It's one of the most popular beards in rugby league now.
There aren't many in Super League that can do that.
We just want to be a great friend, and if we can all try and be a bit of a better friend from time to time, I think we have a bit of a better place to live in.
The Lot Pod is kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. Fast Signs are an established family-run business who have been providing businesses around Leeds and West Yorkshire with effective signs and graphics for almost 30 years. Fast Signs are passionate about helping customers make a statement with signs that are eye-catching, effective and delivered fast. Hi everybody, welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17-8 podcast, kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. It's mailbag time. We haven't done one of these for absolutely ages. It's the first one of the season. If you are brand new to us, first of all, where have you been? Hit that subscribe button if you are listening on YouTube. This is our any other business questions and answers type podcast, thoughts, theories and queries submitted by our listeners, by our subscribers on YouTube. They doesn't have to be about rugby league. It can be about everything and anything, which is exactly what you're about to find out. But he is back. He is my left-hand man as we record, right-hand man as you view. It's Statman Rhys. How are you?
I'm very pleased to be back.
You've picked a perfect time to have some time off.
That was a hell of a week, wasn't it?
Not a bad free pods, those.
Yeah, I mean, I was my. Whenever you go your way, you want to switch off, don't you? And I was when I saw
trying desperately to switch off.
Well, when the Hull result came through, I went, "Oh, thank God, I'm glad I wasn't there."
Yeah,
it was deplorable. I still haven't watched the game. There's no point.
Go back and watch it.
So when that,
don't be tight.
I was like, "Oh, great! I've not had to review that." And then obviously news about Rowan came through, and I'm like, "Well, I'd love to put my 2 penny in for that."
On that one.
And then obviously, but I was always gutted to missing the league game. And it was such an amazing night, and I've never been so gutted to be on holiday to miss that occasion. But I've watched it back, and whilst it doesn't do it fully justice for not being there, it was an amazing evening. But back, raring to go, a bit like the Rhinos. We had a bit of a break now, refreshed, ready to tackle the rest of the season.
Soft reset 4.9 or something.
Yeah.
Of 2024.
Something to do like that.
Jesus Christ! How was France?
Lovely. It were hot for about the first 4 days, and then it rained after that.
And then we got all the heat.
Yeah, then it rained, and I chose the rain to take us up the mountains because it was much cooler to do it.
Lovely.
To make a walk up a mountain in the rain, it wasn't heat.
We're very, very glad to have you back. I'm glad to have you back. Bruce Chris isn't here. We're at the halfway point-ish, just beyond.
Just over, aren't we? 27 rounds. We've done round 15, so...
And you've put together the player ratings halfway point scores, which you posted on X earlier today, Sunday evening, as we record this. Do you just want to run through the top 5 to see where we're at in terms of player ratings? First of all, let me just tell everybody what the player ratings are for those that are brand new. After every game, Statman Rhys puts together a survey which everyone can vote on. It goes out on Rhys's Twitter at X. Sorry, God, I'm getting worse at that. I'm tripping myself up. At Statman Rhys, he tweets it out, X's it out, and anyone can vote. Everyone can vote. We take all those averages, and we're now at the halfway point of halfway point player of the season. Rhys.
Yeah. So at the start of the season, there was a runaway player in this, but it has got a lot closer. So if I remember rightly, the top 4 are all separated by 0.1 each.
Wow.
But to qualify for the top 5, I have set a mini rule in that you've had to have played at least a third of the games so far this year. As a, someone can have a one-off appearance, and I don't really think it's fair for someone to have one-off appearance and then just make it into the end. So, in fifth on that rule, actually was probably the only surprise in the top five for me was Alfie Edgell with 6.2.
Alfie Edgell.
So he is fifth in the order at the moment.
I think that says more about Alfie, that he's played so little minutes and yet he's so highly thought of.
Yes, I mean, if you look
he's been performing well.
If you look at the games he started, round 2, he got a 7.2. I think he started in round. I can't remember which one we're in Catalan, but I think it was quite a low score for everyone. But he got a 7.9 against Lee, and that was his highest. So 6.2. He's on 6 games as well, so he's just won over that.
Do you have
5-game criteria?
Just to kind of push you under the bus ever so slightly? Do you have Brodie Croft's official? Because we just gave everybody a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I do.
Was obviously it was Brodie Croft that was official man of the match and Lot Pod man of the match.
Well, Brodie Croft was actually second in the top 5.
I thought you meant for the league game.
No.
Is it my face drop?
Yeah, no, he's second at the moment in the top 5.
That wouldn't have surprised me.
He's on 6.6 as an average at the moment. It's Brodie Croft,
right?
But his score against Lee was 9.6.
What are people watching?
I don't
What
know.
are you watching?
Whereas I know you kind of gave everyone 10, but there was absolutely no reason why Brodie did not deserve a 10
to get the first and last ever 10 out of 10.
However,
potentially
that was also the highest we've had by Reiner this year.
But yeah.
This year, so I think that
too low.
The previous
Chris
high,
hit me, so I'll say it.
Yeah, I think the previous highest was Lackey against Cass in round 6 with 8.8, and Rhys Martin got an 8.7 in round 13. Actually, I think Riley Lum got a really high. Yeah, Riley Lum got 8.8 in round 9. Yeah, so look, so Alfie Edgell was 5th. 4th was Mikolaj Aledski.
Yeah,
with 6.4. 3rd is Rhys Martin with 6.5. Brodie Croft is 2nd with 6.6, and then Ash Hanley is
6.
top
7.
with 6.7. So it's actually between those 4 players, it's really up for grabs for who eventually will top the charts at the end.
Could you see anyone troubling them? Do you think anyone's going to hit some form? I think potentially Harry could trouble those.
Harry would need to start
playing well.
Yeah, he's on 5.5 at the moment, is Harry.
I believe in you, Harry.
The next closest players really Lackey is 5.9. Up until round 7, he would have probably given Ash a run for his money, but he's only scored above a 6.8 since Cass. 3 times since round 6.
Yeah.
So since he got his highest, he's only made above 6.8, 3 times. So
it kind of feels to me it's going to turn into for the Lot Pod Player of the Year.
It's a 4-way race at the moment.
Yeah.
Andy Ackers is an outside chance at 6.1 at the moment. But I do think it's going to be between...
Open a betting market for this.
It did sound a bit like that then, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Outside chance for Andy Ackers.
So unless some of the youngsters get some more games, Ned is on 6.2, only really because in round 7 he only played 7 minutes and got a low score because we lost that game. He got a 7.9 against Lee. So if he keeps a place, he can challenge potentially. Jack Sinfield, he's on 6.4. So I think some of the young players could chance, but I think in reality, I think it's going to be the 2 current top 4 that will be vying for it at the end of the year.
Top 4 shootout for Lot Pod Player of the Year. Stick around for the Lot Pod Awards later in the year and we'll find out who was the Lot Pod Player of the season. Whilst you've been away, we've also made a signing. Let's get your thoughts on that. Sam Essay on loan. What did you think of that and what did you think of his performance?
Probably should have been someone we signed in the off-season anyway. Up for grabs. Was he Wakey or Cass or...
Wakey?
Wakey, I think I'm going to say that. Say it confidently enough and it's true.
We'll learn that, won't we? There'll be a point in the pod where we won't even have to say it confidently. We'll just say, oh yeah, that's definitely happening.
Definitely true. No, I thought Sam Essay went really well. I liked his offload game that he brought in.
Yeah, you could tell him Cuff Bowes is
he looked
Leeds idol.
Quite a lean prop for his size. I looked at him and Sangare is a big unit, but I felt that Essay was certainly more mobile.
Yeah, I agree.
A good young player. It's He's not made his debut for Wigan yet, I don't think, has he? Yeah, he's played for us.
They do have 15,000 props.
They do, so I think they should be giving that one to at least him to us.
Yeah, we'll take
not
him.
as a starting spot, but as a good potential youngster, Leeds fan. To make his debut in that game must have been a bit of a dream for him.
Yeah.
Really. So no, really good. I think it was a signing that was needed. So whoever's made the move, good. Hopefully we can keep him around a bit longer than the loan. I always really liked what I saw so far, but it's just one game. Hopefully we see it from him again.
It's one game. It's Lot Pod Delusion. It's going to be
exactly.
He's going to be a champion, world champion. On to the mailbag. Here's what some folks have sent in for this edition of the mailbag via DM, via email, via WhatsApp, etc., etc. We've had lots. We'll start at the top and kind of put this to bed, hopefully, once and for all. And I know people feel like a scorned lover when it comes to Rowan Smith, but we had lots of questions. I think it were 8 or 9, maybe 10. Let's average it out and say we had 9 questions, either about Rowan, about performances around Rowan, or some kind of connection question to Rowan Smith. So we'll condense it into one question for you, Rhys. I don't know what the question is. Rowan Smith, Rhys. Final words.
Yeah, final words.
Ever.
And I think
For anyone.
I think final words is quite appropriate because I think for me now I do just want to move on from it. And whether that is whether you're from a Rowan, you liked Rowan or you didn't like Rowan, I just don't really want to dwell on it. And then there will be comparisons. There's going to be, but I want us just to focus on us and the now. From there, and we've got an exciting time again ahead of us in terms of who comes in. But I thought, any coach that comes in, I always support them fully.
Absolutely.
I always want them to be successful, and I am gutted that Rowan wasn't successful. Especially after 2022, I thought, we could be on something here. I mean, that season, that second half of the season, was brilliant. It was. I can't think in terms of a storyline to go from second bottom to
it's like Star Wars
to run us up is a really, really impressive feat.
Particularly what we did after that.
So the drop off, I think, has actually been quite monumental. And unfortunately, it's Rowan that's paid the price for that. Now, I was obviously towards the end of his tenure, I did want him to go. So I do think it is the right decision by the club.
Yeah.
I felt it was definitely the right decision before the league game. There shouldn't have been anything that caused any distraction from that game, and especially with what Sky produced and what the team produced and just what the club produced. I'm not sure it would have felt the same if that had been airing over it. So, but I still think we need to thank Rowan. Or I say we. I personally, I got on the podcast in 2022. The podcast grew massively in that period in 2022, and we had, even though we lost that grand final, me and you will always say that day was one of the best days we've had as a Rhinos fan, because we had tons of people come to the pub, and we just met a load of people, and it was almost for us the way me and Eddie went, we could actually do something with this podcast, but it was only because of what happened in 2022 and stuff. So there is thanks to 2022, but it's the right decision from the club. And I think my opinion is that let's just, whoever comes in now, let's just forget about the past. Let's not do this compare it. It's the here and now, and support the boys in the field week in, week out.
Push your energy into the future.
Exactly. There's no point in dwelling on the past now. It's done. It's happened. Let's focus on the future.
So that's all those 8, 9, 10 Rowan questions boxed off perfectly by Statman Rhys. Shall we start with the questions that we had on X under the
Twitter,
comments?
Yeah. So Bri has done his usual and sent through. Bri from 6 Again, our good friend. Although is he not co-host Bri now? As he's been on, I'm pretty sure he's been on the Only Rugby League pod.
That's
why he's not been with us for so long.
6-7 times this year.
Yeah.
Co-host of Only Rugby League now.
Yeah, so anyway, Bri has sent some questions, and the first one is, with half the season left and then heading back to the Rhinos, what is a reachable number of tries Ryan Hall can get to? Now, I can't remember what tries is on now.
I was about to ask you that.
I don't have the internet on. My phone is there.
iPhone.
So he's currently ahead of anyone else. So I suppose it's now how many tries will it be before he finishes his career.
Essentially what Brian's asking is how many tries he's going to score this year.
And next year.
Yeah,
how many
more tries will he score for Hull KR this year? 0. That's what I'd like. I don't want him to score again for Hull KR. No, I'm joking. He's a... I don't know his stats. Is he a 15? Is he a 20 try?
Not
10,
this year.
15?
Not this year. He'll be a 15 in total this year.
Yeah.
I would... It's difficult
He'll
to
get more for
say...
Leeds. I'll say that.
Well, it's difficult because we don't quite know what the position is next year. Now, my assumption would be that Ryan Hall is not coming to be on the bench.
I think he's starting.
And if he's
As much
starting,
as-
that means that Fussy's probably going with him being out of contract.
Fussy will go.
But then you've got your Edgells, your Riley Lums and other people. So, and he is of an age where injury might be more frequent.
Potentially.
So
Potentially.
I think 15 tries between now and the end of next season.
Really? Only that little an amount?
He doesn't play week in, week out for KR, does he? Not all the time. He's had periods
My
outside.
KR knowledge is absolutely...
Yeah. So look,
Zero.
I'll say 15 to 20. 15 to 20 tries between now and the end of next season.
I'll say, no matter how many tries he gets this year, he'll score more for us next year. Because Fussy 2 won't sign for the Rhinos again. No way. And we will not use the quarter spot on the wing. That quarter spot will be going more centrally, proppy, second row.
And we've got the talent coming through. Like, we don't really need to spend
like
it
you just
there.
mentioned there, Ryan's dropping in for that 5 shirt, 2 shirt, or whatever that may be, for the year with all the Alfie and Riley and Max.
We talked about this. Ash is keeping number 5. Ryan Hall's having 55.
55, that's right.
We talked about this.
Is that even allowed?
We won't even have a number 2 next year.
Yeah, we'll have a 2. It can be Alfie.
So you're saying whatever the number is, he'll score more for Rhinos next year than he will do this year for KR.
That's what else, because we've got a miles better team than KR. Don't care what the table says. And then next year when we're even better, him coming home, I think he'll score way more.
Okay.
But if in terms of the amount, I hope, in all honesty, he gets as many as he can. Because although he did beat Danny, he is a Leeds legend, so it still links back to us, which is always a thumbs up. And the more he scores, the further away he gets from Josh Chandler.
Who's still got quite a good few years left in him.
Do you know what? I've always felt he's a good player. I won't say great.
But if he didn't go to Union,
Yeah,
he
he's
would
another
be very close to, if not ahead of Ryan.
Yeah, there's another one.
Total.
Both of them... I don't even think Chandler went for that long, did he? Because Ryan went in...
Ryan went down to
NRL 2
Roosters,
year.
didn't he? Yeah, I think Charlie was 2 or 3 years.
All right, maybe longer
Must
than I
be
thought.
something.
So if they'd have both sat
Again,
here...
say it confidently in its root.
It'd have been- that's become the biggest lot on me in recent times. If they'd have both stuck it to rugby league,
Yeah, there'd have been a lot
have-
higher.
and it'd have been much more of an intriguing chase.
Anyway, Bry's second question is there a part of AMT Headingley, well done for getting a sponsor in there, Bry, that you
Rob Oates would be proud of that.
that you think or would like to be upgraded? I'm going to start straight away for the away fans that might be listening to this.
No, I
The
love
West
that.
Stand is
Yeah.
not up for negotiation.
I love that.
There's no point. You have to buy the land behind it, reroute the gill, put a roof over it for absolutely little no return because it doesn't sell out.
And it's perfect.
And you'd put a sponsorship. You'd only get a sponsorship that's on a stand with it. And we get wet at other stadiums. You can get wet at Headingley.
It's perfect. The only thing I'd suggest is when the South Stand was first built, the new South Stand, our seats weren't. They kind of did it as you look at it from the pitch. They did the right hand side first. You know, kind of that southwest corner. So we had temporary seats on that side, the real far side. You can't see the screen. Anybody else watching this will tell you.
Yeah, you can't because of that.
They've got a great big divide end of the stadium thing. You cannot, and it drives you nuts. So you're looking round for people, or I try and get signal on my phone, which is way delayed. The horse is bolted. So I think kind of the other corner as well. The perhaps there's another area where there's a blind spot, but I think to not be able to see the screen.
Okay.
And it seems a cheaper type fix. The West Stand's perfect for me. As we've always said. I know.
Sorry, we need to call it the Western Terrace. I don't know why I called it the West Stand.
Western
Terrace.
Because it's like a throwback. Like you said, it's never, ever going to change.
And it's
there's
the
no
little
point
bit
wasting
of
energy.
traditional that's still left at
Which is
Headingley.
what I love, you know. I think Loz said it, or Dunk, or someone on this platform were like, people's great grandparents parents, uncles have been on that terrace. So it's like they're always there, and yet the rest is
Home and away.
completely developed.
Home and away.
Anything you'd change?
The pies. Get rid of Pucker pies and just bring back Wilson's. Simple change. Doesn't cost that much.
We are available for sponsorship of Pies Wilson's if you're there.
Yes, we are.
And get like a little microwave or slow cooker.
Yeah, for the
fridge.
to go above the beer fridge. Which Northern Monk, it is still available for sponsor. Should you wish to sponsor
Or
the
any
beer
of the
fridge
breweries.
or any of the breweries in the vicinity of the UK.
Mr. and Mrs. Guinness, we are available.
Bry's third question on food actually: birthday cake filling, chocolate, Victoria sponge, or other. Bry's nominating red velvet here.
I didn't think Bry were that old. Because red velvet, that is 70s defined, my friend. Bry, you weren't around in the 70s. No way. He's younger than me.
Is he?
Must be.
I don't know.
It certainly looks younger than me. I've got 4 children. For anyone that doesn't know, I have 4 children. So when it comes to birthday cake, I am an absolute perfect position. Because I go to about 14 birthday parties every month. And I've got to say, the best filling is Victoria Sponge.
Okay. It's not.
Oh, don't say red velvet.
No, coffee and walnut is my favourite cake.
That's not on there.
No, he said other. He did say
Oh, he's
other.
joking.
He did say other. But yeah, so coffee is mine. I know people don't always tend to like that, but I like coffee and walnut cake. One of my favourites.
In terms of cakes, the best cake, and it's a hill I'll die on, Costco.
Yeah, I'm not.
Costco birthday cake.
Well, I was my birthday later next month or this month when it comes out, when the pod comes out, so I might have to investigate that.
They are honestly absolutely astounding.
So on to the rest of the Twitter questions we've got. We've got quite a few to go through, so I will do a fairly quick one from Rhino's Roundup. Now I'm going to change this slightly because Rhino's Roundup has said shag, marry, kill. I think kill's probably a bit too hard.
Avoid.
So I'm going to go with shag, marry, avoid, but of the current Rhinos players.
Avoid. Oh, I don't know. Sam Lasoni. Doesn't seem like a generous lover, I don't think. Just my opinion. Sorry, Sam, if you're watching, if you're listening.
I think I would avoid Harry Newman.
Really?
I just think his energy, I'm not sure I'll be able to cope with how his energy, he just feels like someone's on the go all the time. And if you were stuck in it.
Too much stamina for your race, that's what you're saying.
I wasn't thinking from that aspect. I'm more thinking of if I was stuck in a lift with him, I think that if I don't want to be stuck in a lift with him, that's where I'm going with this. I think Harry Newman would be.
I want to change my answer.
What? I got on.
Michaletsky. It's too good looking. It's too good looking.
Okay.
So he'd be my avoid.
Okay, on to the shag section, which is something I never thought I'd say on this podcast. I'm going to say this would have been Cam Smith for me. Would have.
Yep.
Got rid of the mullet.
Yep, there you go. There you go. So probably an avoid now? About the
Yeah,
mullet?
he might actually be in the avoid category. Sorry, Cam.
That's exactly why his form dropped off slightly.
Yep.
By the way. What was the question?
Shag.
Make love to.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, George. Sorry, everyone. Not our question. Who's the best looking? It's Mick, innit? But I'd be so. He's too good looking. Ash Hanley.
Ash Hanley.
Soft hands, winger. Long arms, great cuddler. Probably Ash Hanley. Seems gentle.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that one actually, just because I would have been Cam before, but since he's lost the mullet.
If you are, who's asked the question? Rhino's Roundup.
Rhino's Roundup.
If you ask this question next year, we've got Ryan Hall in the side.
Ryan Hall.
And that is definitely because Ryan Hall is absolutely stunning.
And finally, who would you marry?
Brodie Croft after last week, after the league.
Oh, of
game.
course, yeah.
I'm absolutely infatuated by him now. Like I said on the review, if you couldn't love him anymore. No. That outpour of emotion. Listen, and I mean this. If his Leeds career ended after that game, I'd love him forever. Which is obviously not the case because he's going to win loads and loads of titles with us. But yeah,
well, I did put a tweet when I saw that interview because I didn't see the game winning France, but I obviously watched it back and it was a superhero performance.
Yeah.
But you can see it on the moment he walks out on the pitch. You can see
Phil was saying that
in his face, like I'm playing today. There's nothing that's going to stop me.
He was in the zone.
So you could see it from there, but the interview at the end, it shows the measure of Brodie.
Yeah.
He'd been at the club for 6 months. You know, you could forgive him for not being caught up in the emotion of it too much, or not being too attached to it, because he is new to the club. And you know, so when I say that, comparing it with our emotion as fans, and emotion of people like Ash and Cam, who were coached or played with him. So I think it shows the measure of him in terms of how much he cares as an individual and how much of a good person he was. I think it showed the impact of the Rhinos family, and I think it showed the impact of Rob and his family as well. So yeah, marrying Brodie is a very good nomination, but it's not my choice.
Really?
It's
not Cammy because he's
done
his hair in.
I feel like I've got to say it, because if I don't, he'll message me, and it's Jared O'Connor.
That's true.
So sorry, Ebony. But yeah,
I don't think he's going to leave her for you.
I don't know. We have some.
So you're
chats.
telling me there's a chance?
I was in Catalan. So yeah, my choice would be Jared on that one. I just think he'd be a really nice guy as well. He'd be one of those guys that make you a cup of tea. Make you a cup of tea when you wake up in the morning.
What makes him a nice guy is he's really nice to us, which confirms
friend of the pod.
He's a nice guy.
On to Graham's questions then. So Graham's been following Bri and Laurie's books. So Graham sent 4 through, so we'll try and go through these as quick as we can. Would you rather fight 4 horse-sized ducks or 40 duck-sized horses? 40
duck-sized horses.
Yeah,
I just volume across the room. I'd definitely be able to chin anything the size of a duck.
Now, if that was 400, I think I'd be more worried.
No, I reckon I'd take my chances.
With 400 over 4?
Yeah. Where am I? I mean, like a sports hall.
If we're in here, I'd be really worried.
Here, well, I'm ghost.
Plucked.
I'm ghost. With plenty of things to whack him with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
You'd have to clamber over stuff to reach first.
Carl Pratt could also throw me some tools and bits of ammo. Okay, Carl. He's all right.
So, yeah, I agree. I'll be going for 40 duck-sized horses, I think. Graham's then flipped back to rugby and has asked if Rhys does go. That's Rhys Martin, not me. I am staying. If Rhys Martin does go, if Rhys Martin does go, who is the ideal second row signing for us?
It's impossible. It's an impossible.
You're not going to get a like for like.
No chance.
So let's just take that off the table straight away.
Well, I often think this, regardless, like particularly in like football, which is I know it's completely sport change. But for instance, a club will sign. Liverpool lost Coutinho, so they lose him, who was the best player. They get loads of money, then they say, "Oh, we need to buy a defender, a right back, and a keeper." Well, you don't. You need to replace the bloke who's just left. So I don't envy Blaster, Gary, whoever it may be, to replace Rhys, because that consistency alone, never mind the boot, the way he plays, so consistent. We are not going to get a player that plays to that level after Rhys Martin for some time.
No. We will. There are good second rows out there, but what Rhys has offered us, I think he's the closest person since the last grand final win that you could say is a legend.
Potentially, yeah.
Who wasn't, and I'm taking Ash Hanley out of that because he was in that 17 side. I think, and Edetsky, I don't think he was in that side then, was he? He was just after or around that time. But I think he is one of probably the top 3 players. Maybe
if it's one of those where if you were putting together, like if we were doing the draft again, we should do that. Yeah. They were good. If we're doing the draft again and you were looking at it and you had Rhys Martin in your best all-time second row, I don't think many people, particularly if you didn't have Kev to kick, because it's been after Kev without a doubt.
Yeah,
definitely second best kicker we've had in certainly our lifetime.
But I think in terms of a player, it needs to be a big second row. Yeah. I think we've shown that when we've lost, I like McDonald, but people have been quite negative about him this year. But he's not playing as best as he was last year. I will admit that. But McDonald's that workhorse, tackle everything.
So is Bentley. Gannon's kind of similar.
Just don't know anymore, do we?
He's an halfback, isn't he?
He's oh god. But I do think we just need a big, brutish second row, that someone that potentially, if needed, could be more of a prop if needed or whatever. And I liked Matt Whitley at St Helens. Former Catalan. I thought he was quite good.
Took him.
He's played. James Bell at Saints is quite good as well. So
don't like him.
I think there's players of good standing. Lachlan Fitzgibbon.
suppose so.
Nicholson. There's good players out there.
So if we can go sign 2 of them, we'll be all right, won't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, that blaster. It's as easy as that.
As easy as that. Continuing the rugby theme, Graham was also asked is Camry the right skipper for us going forward? So it's
Yes.
not if, is. So you're straight up yes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. If, and I have one piece of criteria to that, he grows the mullet again.
Yeah. So there is a caveat. He needs to grow the mullet back.
Massive caveat there.
I think for me, he hasn't played as good as he can do.
Because he lost his mullet.
Because he lost his mullet. Is it also the system? I don't know. He doesn't feel like he's had much of the ball.
People said, I think it's more the mullet, to be honest. I think it's more.
I'm going to say it's a mix,
because
it's a mix of 3 things, I think. The mullet is certainly a contributing factor.
Honestly, it is no... And again, I'm going back to football, like when Fernando Torres was on fire for Liverpool, and he had the luscious, long, blonde locks.
Yeah.
He signed for Chelsea. The first day, first photo at Chelsea, he was holding up a Chelsea shirt with a skinhead. And absolutely everyone was going, what have you done? Cam was playing well, grows the mullet, Austin 22, becomes captain, loses his mullet, loses a little bit of form.
I still think Cam's got the leadership pedigree. He's been captain all the way through. We did say to him at the beginning of the season about his power of his mullet. Became
Specific,
captain.
they said to him when he was wearing that shirt.
So that's the shirt. Yeah, that's the one. If anyone doesn't know that, that's the one that got signed on the media day because that was the one from Warner Boxing Day. There are other players that are showing leadership qualities this year, but they're doing it in the role that they play. Brody, for example, last week, do it in the role that he plays. Yeah. Ash, I always shirked at being vice captain, but I always go back to when he chased. I think I can't remember what game it was, but when he chased someone down
last year,
I think Greg Eden down, yeah, and I think players like that will show their leadership quality in their own way in their plays. But I think Cammy in the central role in the middle of the pitch,
yeah, I agree.
His defensive game hasn't changed, so he's still the right guy. And also, we've gone through so much change recently.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
It's nice to have a bit of consistency, and I'm hoping that after their 7th 2-week break of the season and a coach change, it might bring a new lease of life to come.
And I agree. I don't think being captain particularly, and I don't think it means much. You can still be a leader.
Yeah. And we don't know what Cammy's like off the pitch, do we? We don't know what Cammy's like in training. We don't know what he's like.
I know we always go back to this, and we always will, but we had JP, Danny, Rob,
JJB.
And Kev were the captain, and pretty much, yeah, he led by example, absolutely did, but there was always the others there where you could say, wow, Ablett, JJB, they were all there to give cover your ears, the bollockins, to gather people, to kind of get them going again. It didn't need to be one.
Didn't need to be involved in every situation.
No, and I think that having vice captains or a team, whatever, I feel that's what Brodycroft did last week.
Yeah.
Kind of turned things up to say, I know a lot of people saying he should be captain now, but essentially all we need to do with Brodycroft is say to him, what do we need to do for you to unlock your game? We'll base it around what Brodycroft needs to do. And I don't think being a captain plays part in that.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
And Graham's last question is, what's your go-to Nando's order?
You know what? I'm probably going to get shot down for this. I'm not a big Nando's guy.
You're not?
I'm really not.
I haven't been for a while. And mine's pretty boring, but it's just the 4 chicken thighs, the peri salted chips and the garlic bread.
Yeah. What's the sauce you get, sorry?
I'd normally go for about a medium.
I'd probably go a little bit spicy.
But then I get the hot sauce after.
Yeah. Just that. I'd get. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's not. I don't always.
I'm really not. To be honest, I'm not a fan of chicken on the bone. I kind of.
Well, that's why I go for chicken thigh because it's just.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, not a big fan. Sorry.
Continuing on the food theme, Adam
hungry now.
has asked us.
If anybody wants to send us any snacks for the snack cupboard.
We need a snack cupboard first.
So we need a snack cupboard and what did I say earlier? Microwave, yeah. If anybody wants us to send us
basically,
snack cupboard,
Eddie's moving into the studio is what's happening.
Me and Carl.
Adam has asked, and this actually is alongside this question, what is your favourite kitchen appliance?
Adam's a good lad. He's been on the pod a few times. It's not a slow cooker. Can I shock you? Not a fan.
Not a slow cooker?
Not a fan of a slow cooker.
Reminds me of my childhood. Does a slow cooker because I don't use one at home.
I'm not on about a slow cooker, am I?
No, you're not.
I'm on about an air fryer. I like them.
the exact opposite. The slow cooker is something that cooks things slow, and the air fryer is something that cooks something fast.
What I love though is that was like a married couple exchange when I said, I'm not talking about a slow cooker, and you were like, no, you're not. And I feel like you could have said, you're on about an air fryer.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I am a fan of slow cookers. I'm not a fan of the air fryer. I know they've had a massive boom.
Does that mean you
and
don't
having
believe in
kids, they are perfect for like quick teas, but
So you don't believe in a fryer power?
he's had that joke. He's heard that joke somewhere else. That's what's done there. So mine is probably the toaster.
Similar theme for that.
I think
Mine.
so underloved, but I do enjoy toast.
Mine is something similar, but it's one of those things that you get out, you get it, you use it for like a solid every meal for a week, then you forget about it, goes in your cupboard, and then occasionally you bring it out.
Thingy.
Toasty machine.
Toasty. Yeah.
Triangle toasty machine.
Yeah.
Thingy. You buy it, you
We
have
could
it for
definitely
every single...
We could definitely get one of these.
Yeah, you could do. You could use it for every single meal for about a week, and then you don't use it for a year.
And then you forget.
You tidy the house, you go, oh, I forgot I
the
had
cupboard,
that.
the toasty.
And get it out again.
Big on the toasties again.
And it comes out.
Rinse and repeat.
So there we go.
We did exactly the same thing when we moved, whenever it was. We realised we had two. So at one point previously, we loved them so much, we bought another.
We had a toasting machine and a panini press, so we had one of each. So yeah, on that one. South Standards has asked, if you had to pull on a Rhino shirt and play a game, what position would you want to play?
Halfback.
Halfback? Loose forward for me.
I think so.
I was number 8 Union. It's the one
similar.
play there, and I'd grow a mullet if I was playing loose forward.
Yeah, halfback, and I'd grow a skullet. Just tear around the back like Bill Bailey. But I'd have to play 7 alongside Danny. He could talk me through the game.
As in, you could just watch him,
I'd
follow
just
him
watch
around.
follow him. If he says, stand there, defend there, I'll listen
Yes,
to
Danny.
every
No,
word.
Danny. Sure, Danny.
Sure, Danny. Need the bell, don't we?
Yeah.
Need a lot of things for this studio, right?
South Stander Luke has asked a sort of a similar question, which is, if you could draft one ex-Leeds player from their prime into the current squad, who would you pick? However, whoever you pick would replace the current first team player. So if you brought in Danny Maggs, this is the example that Luke has given, so clearly he knows this has come to you, this question. But if you pick Danny Maggs, it would mean you would lose Brodie Croft.
So you answer this first.
Okay, Jamie Peacock. Jamie Peacock,
straight in.
As
Hang
number
on.
10, which means you would lose Tom Holroyd.
Oh, Holroyd. Goodness me, I thought Mick were 10 then. Mick, what 10? No, he wasn't.
No,
He's never
he's
been
not.
10,
He's
has he?
always been
With
8.
Taverna. It's an easy question for me. I think it's been answered. Danny?
Oh, Danny. So you'd
Danny Maguire or Brodie Croft? It's an absolute no-brainer. Danny?
even after the league game.
That's it. I love Brodie Croft, but I love Danny Maguire. And Danny Maguire is a million times the player.
Fair enough.
Brodie Croft is, yeah. Absolutely. Danny Maguire.
A question from Ian East Leeds, one of our former regular guests. He has asked a question said, inspired by Rhys's detective work on the Tour de France Leeds shirt. This has affected me, by the way, putting shirts in our WhatsApp group again so that I don't buy them, other people buy
Saying
them
that
instead.
Leeds for sale, guys, buy them.
However, saying that, I did find, I don't know if people can see it, but in that top right-hand corner, a beautiful.
Hang on, stick with me.
Right, I think 92, I think we said, Eddie. 90, maybe, actually, no, is it 96? Because it's got Super League on, hasn't it? Has it got Super League on it? The badge? Yeah, it's 96, isn't it?
It's 96. We're
So
holding
many
this up
Chris here.
for our YouTube.
But it even has the original shirt sleeve badges on it. It's in absolutely impeccable condition.
It's in mint condition.
So if anyone wants
If you're listening on Spotify, just head over to YouTube to see it.
Yeah, so that's what Ian's down to when it comes down to detective work. It's the stuff that I'm finding on eBay and Vinted. But he has said, given our historic success in pink shirts, should the city bid to begin a future Giro d'Italia, which is the Italian Tour de France, or another part of Ian's question is, what other big international event do you want to come to our city, and how would you tie it into the Rhinos?
Oh, blimey. Big international event. I think, specifically to Leeds, I mean, we're really pie in the sky. Excuse me. But Origin.
My mate was at Melbourne on Wednesday.
I think as us as we are, as people watching, people listening, I'm assuming we're all rugby league fans, that would be... And perhaps it's closer than we think. And I mean, they've been to Vegas, so they're going to start. Obviously, they're going to keep doing Vegas, not for Origin, but for. And so they are taking the NRL and flirting with it. Maybe America's closer to getting an Origin, but it's been muted once or twice about kind of like Wembley, and it would sell out. Would absolutely sell. I think the only thing about Origin would be we just don't have a stadium big enough.
Not in Leeds.
So
no.
I think that's an issue. I'm going way off on a tangent now, but I think that the size of stadiums in the UK are an issue. I think they're too small.
Yeah, I think they are, but I think in terms of like an event that I'd bring to Leeds, I think State of Origin is what I'd love to see, but I almost think the stadiums are too small for Leeds.
Sky, yeah.
But if the Ashes series, and I say Ashes as in the old school noughties, Australia, Great Britain, Ashes series, if you could bring that back and bottle whatever that was,
that magic,
and bring it back into now, a free game series at Ellen Road
would be ideal.
I'd love it. Old Tri-Nation, or even the Old Tri-Nations.
Yeah,
I think I'd go for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think something internationally rugby league would be ideal.
Yeah,
but not as pie in the sky as perhaps Origin.
Yeah,
I just it's Origin week and you just watch it and you just think, I'm just so envious of it.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 90,000 people at the MCG?
It just looks amazing.
Awesome stadium, one of the best stadiums I've ever been to. The
Absolutely,
MCG.
Unbelievable.
And on to the final of the Twitter questions. I got two more. I say two more. Two people's questions. We'll go with Laurie, who's now extended to 5 questions now.
He used to average 3.
So he's gone up.
On every mailbag ever, Laurie's submitted at least 3 questions.
Well, in
Hat-trick, Laurie.
He's not got a rugby league one here, so this would be quite good. You know about these. Number 1, what is the greatest cartoon character?
Homer Simpson.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, really?
Love Scooby-Doo as a kid. Awesome.
Homer Simpson for me.
Fair enough. Number 2, if you could change your name, what would you change it to?
That's what I'm
Danny?
It'd have to be something really cool, wouldn't it? Eddy Dynamite. Something like that. Eddie Dynamite. Dynamite Kid.
I quite like my
Eddie
name.
Extreme.
I'm quite happy with my name.
Extreme Eddie.
My mum was going to try to call me Yestin when I was a kid.
That'd have been ideal. Statman Yestin.
Doesn't quite work, does it? I think or Yayan as well was another one that she tried.
Not so much. What was why aren't you called Yestin?
Because my dad didn't allow it.
Really?
Yeah, my mum's Welsh.
A massive rhino.
And my dad's from Beast.
Hang on.
Yeah.
When were you born?
94. Should have been before Yestin.
That's true. I would say that's pretty close.
So
yes.
But Yayan Evans
Yestin
was playing for Wales at the time in rugby union. Number 3, what is the best animal?
A dog. Easy.
Okay, well, dog, yeah. I mean, I love my dog. But taking that aside...
She is listening.
She is
watching.
Rough. I'm going to go for an otter.
I love otters.
Love otters. Like, I go to a zoo, and that's like one of the things I actually want to see is a giant otter. So there you go.
I love them.
Number 4, is there...
water dog, that. It's all right, right?
Yeah, it's true, yeah. Number 4, is there an opinion that you have that you are sure the person to your right would agree with? Since there's no one to your right, Eddie, we'll have to say to your left. But is there an opinion that you have?
I can ask Wilfred.
If you said
you're a male, right, Wilf?
So is the opinion that you have
that Chris's cat, by the way, for those. Carry on, Rhys.
Sorry, yeah, I'm going to say it the third time. So do you have an opinion, Eddie, that basically, if you went, this is my opinion, Rhys will agree with me. What's that opinion?
I can't think of one. Yestin Harris is the best Welsh player for the Rhinos.
Well, yeah.
There you go. I'm trying to think of something wild.
I'll go with one back saying that...
I'll go with some of a tapping.
That you agree that the last 24 hours of Leeds United has been an absolute shit show.
Oh, wow. Yes. I can't stand that club, honestly. I can't stand
Did you see
them.
the meme of the guy hitting someone behind the back? So it was all three characters of Leeds United. So there was one guy beating a guy up from behind and the other person the same thing.
Just whacking each other.
Yeah.
It's eerily... Well, this is... Yeah, shit. Sorry, George. Just fucking shit. It's getting a bit Ken Batesy, but...
Just a well-spoken Ken Bates.
But none of us are shocked by this. I think we can all agree as United fans that when we didn't go up, I know I certainly thought and said to friends, all those players are going.
I
So
just hope
should
that
we be
Gray
shocked?
wasn't one of them.
Shocked.
I was hoping that Gray wouldn't be one of them.
thought-
When you come to the... Sorry, that beer's really gassy, but I'm still
We
happy
need
for
some
free
new
beer.
beer.
When it comes down to the profit and loss sort of, or the profit sustainability
Drives
the
me
rules,
nuts.
there are other players on the books that you can sell. One that doesn't want to be here, Somerville. As soon as a big club comes along, he won't want to be there. Nonto tried to get out of the club.
Yeah,
So you've got two players there, and then you've got Melier that potentially you could sell and find another keeper at that level. You've got 3 players there you could all easily sell on a profit and be fine in the books while still keeping Archie Gray. Now, I know it's hard for... I don't know if any Championship clubs ever turned down 40 million
Never.
for a player. So, you put the club out of context, out of that equation. It does sound daft, but it's, you just sell those, keep him.
It's just awful.
And get
That
rid
club
of the red.
drives me mad, but it just feels we're going to lose them all. Because Archie's the first of... There's going to be more. Some of them will go, Rutter will go, Nonto will go.
Rutter's probably the only one that won't go because no one will pay more
Potentially.
than we
yeah.
paid for him, and that's why that's what the PSR rules are.
Potentially. But it's horrible. And I don't,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
And Laurie's
We
final.
did well, I think that's the first time we've spoke United this year.
We have.
That's some good going, that.
We have.
Lack of mailbags, right?
Yeah. And Laurie's last question, nice and simple: lemon or lime?
Good question. I'm going to say lime.
Lime, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say
Lime.
lime. I prefer more lime-based drinks.
Yeah.
But then I prefer lemon on food. Like squirt of lemon on
Yeah.
fish or...
Yeah, lime for me. And the last question on Twitter is from John Winter. This is actually my favourite question so far. It is, if Brad Arthur is installed as coach, will Jet 2 go into administration given the amount of holidays our squad go on will be drastically reduced?
Probably. Jet 2 out of Leeds, Bradford Airport.
I'm pretty sure Jet 2... There must have been some sort of sponsorship this year when they went to Catalan.
For us? Oh.
No, well, if they want to pay for me to go to Catalan, I'm fine with that. But they went out earlier this year. They normally went on the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
They went out earlier.
Stayed in
and
Barcelona,
it was
didn't they?
plastered. Yeah, Barcelona. No, I think they went to Barcelona and came up.
Right.
But it was plastered all over Lee's social
Jet
media
2.
that they flew with Jet 2 and were flying thanks to Jet 2. And I'm there going, there's obviously been a bit of a pro bono there. So I'm wondering if the players have been getting discount as well this year.
Potentially.
From
Will says, would you be happy if Brad Arthur was the new Leeds Rhinos head coach, but only until 2027 when he becomes the new Perth head coach? What Will's getting at here is there have been rumours that Arthur's that potentially going to take over at Perth or the new NRL club. So essentially, would you be happy if Brad Arthur came in, but it was only a 2-year deal?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Next.
I think when you've got someone of that quality, how often is it that there is a proven, seasoned NRL coach who's well thought of, that is willing to come to Super
And
League
out of a job.
and out of a job and available?
Yeah.
Any club in Super League
Very
would
rare.
snap the chance up than to have a
Absolutely.
go at that. And for me, that's why Brad Arthur is the number one choice and has to be the person that we go and get. But I think what we would need to be putting in there is you need to be brooding an assistant in that 2-year period that can continue that succession afterwards, I think, for me. So we're not starting again and again and again. It needs to be some. If that is the case, Will, and that's what we're doing, I think I would want someone that is coming in as an assistant, working with him, that is happily going to take over.
And that's very transparent to say, look, Brad's here for 2 years. Mm-hmm. In the 3rd year, we're essentially prepping the assistant, whoever that may be, Danny Maggs, to be the head coach. And then I think as a Rhino, as a Leeds fan, as a fan of any sport, you kind of go, right, that's a proven head coach for 2 years with a long-term plan off the back of that.
Yeah.
And I think, like Rhys said, you just do not turn... If it's a year, you take Brad Arthur. It's a year...
I think with Brad Arthur as well is that, whilst this is your question, Will, I don't think it's... I don't know a lot about Brad Arthur, but he was at the Parramatta for 10, 12 years.
Long time.
I don't think whatever he commits to, for him, is a short-term thing. maybe coming over to the UK could be.
Yeah.
But no, to answer your question in short, well, absolutely. If it meant we were on here till 2027 and he was our head coach for 2.5 years, absolutely no issue with that. But with a bit of a, can we have a bit of a long-term assistant plan in terms of whoever he's bringing in as
That would
assistant?
just make sense. Yeah.
One of the two is likely going to take over after in terms of brooding him from
Would
there.
absolutely make sense. Lola says, thank you for some wonderful tributes to Rob recently. They have been fantastic to watch and reminisce over. Well done all. Thank you, Lola. There have been some difficult but enjoyable podcasts after the passing of our favourite and best ever number 7. Paul says...
Oh, before we just move on, that Rob Burrow video, I think, will be one of our top 3 videos on YouTube now.
Yeah. Go watch it.
Now it's hit over 1,000 views. So I think it's now my 3rd podcast to ever go over 1,000 views.
1,000, yeah.
We can't see if it's 1,000 and...
Doesn't break it down, no.
But we know it's one of the top 3. So thanks for everyone's support and actually watching that one as well, because I think, but particularly for me, because I edited and put it all together, most one I'm certainly proud of, and wanting to make sure it was good. So I'm pleased everyone enjoyed it as well.
It's a beauty. Go and watch it. Everyone's available on YouTube. Watch it. Paul says, what did you think of the France versus England game, and in particular the coverage or lack of? Sorry. So did you see any of this games? I didn't.
My first question to you was going to be, did you watch it?
No, didn't watch it. What did I watch? There's a football game on, wasn't there?
Germany.
Italy.
Oh,
No, it was Italy, Switzerland. I watched that. I didn't even bother at all. So in terms of the coverage,
Yeah.
Paul, we got a little bit of feedback from Chris, who isn't here, but he said it. What did he say? It's absolutely
Yeah, I think
pathetic
the
and
app was dying or was cutting
abysmal.
out
I think
or something.
pathetic and abysmal were 2 words producer
Yeah.
Chris used. And I know some people in our WhatsApp community were saying it's just wasn't working. It was buffering and looked amateur.
Well, thankfully, it wasn't on wider coverage because it would
I
hopefully not
agree.
many people have seen how
I
amateur
agree.
it was.
But then what's the point? Playing it at all?
It annoys me because I'm a bit hypocritical here, which is I want the international game to grow. I want France to grow.
Is this it?
I just don't think
I
this
don't
was the
think
answer.
this type of fixture's going to do it.
And you kind of got to play it to help France grow, but yeah, it just.
I think France.
It's the international game is so broken for us in particular,
Yeah.
and my big worry for the international game is I don't think the NRL are that bothered, but if they were bothered, they've got their own little decent tournament between Australia,
they
New
were doing
Zealand,
it last,
Samoa,
was
and
it last
Tonga.
year?
Yeah.
When they just did it without us.
So we are not going to have one, unfortunately, I think, unless something drastic changes. And then again, I go back to what I said earlier. The Tri Nations and those Ashes series back in the noughties, they were awesome.
We miss them, don't we?
And I can't believe we've just let that go.
And even if it's England asking those nations, Australia, Tonga, Samoa, out there who are playing together, even if we have to fly out there, we have to be a part of it.
We've got the end of season tests, haven't we? So there's 2 tests there. So
Something
that's good. And we were in danger of losing them as well. So they've kept that.
So they're doing something. They're making small steps in the right direction.
But then I suppose, do you prefer this to the All Stars game they used to play?
I don't think I do.
No.
I think if it was an All-Star Games, I'd be more inclined to watch it.
But then I'm worried about, because people like Brody and all that would get
Yeah,
picked
just worried
and
about
then
injuries,
get injuries.
constantly and international. I think France sit under whatever the England side are doing. For instance, in the England-Samoa Test Series now, France should do something similar as a curtain raiser to those games against like an England Knights.
Well, I've said this before. I think we need to go just bite the bullet and say, look, we'll fly down. Even if it's I don't even care if it's every year.
Yeah.
We'll go down on the basis that every 4 years you guys come up or something.
You come up, yeah.
But as part of that, we do a mini European tournament
Yeah.
at home, which is England B,
Yeah, England Knights.
Wales,
whatever,
Ireland, Scotland, France.
Yeah.
And at least we still get some international tournament here.
And I think they sit under that, and then they're not getting battered by England, which they always do.
Yeah.
England Knights are getting more kind of competitive.
But the coverage was poor. I mean, I forgot it was on, even though we had the weekend off. There was no advertisement of it, although I'm glad there wasn't, because apparently the quality wasn't great. You know, is it the way the international game's going to grow? No. If a Rhinos player got injured, would I be really pissed off? Absolutely.
Yeah.
For a game which was, and I know they can't predict it, but I don't know if you saw, but Toulouse rugby union team the day before, or on the day, were just celebrating their grand final win. And it was in that city. Now, I know you can't predict it, but Toulouse loves its rugby union, and the streets were absolutely packed. And the only other people that weren't on the street were the 4,500 in the rugby league stands.
That were there.
Stadium, yeah. So, look, it wasn't, Paul, I think a measure of what did we think of it, neither of us were bothered about watching it.
Pointless. Completely pointless. Chloe says, it's a good question, this one. Takes some thinking, I think. Chloe says, if you had to be trapped in a TV show for a month, which show would you choose and why? And Chloe goes on to say, I'd choose Game of Thrones just to see if I could survive. I think it'd be pretty hard.
How long would you last in Game of Thrones?
Do I know who everyone is? Have I got some knowledge?
Why are you asking me that question? Oh,
because like if I know the knowledge I have of Game of Thrones, I'll survive. But if I'm going into Game of Thrones as just I'm in that universe and I don't know if Cersei's a nutter, Ramsay Bolton's a nutter. I could stick around with Tyrion Lannister.
I would be.
Yeah, I'm a Game of Thrones.
End up being loyal to probably the wrong person, and
get decapitated
and end up in an
25
early
minutes.
death. For example, I'd probably latch on to Ned Stark and think, "Oh, it's great! This got a new job, been promoted.
Nice,
he's been promoted.
This guy's going somewhere. I'm on his curtain.
I can work underneath him. You know what future I've got.
Yeah.
And then
once Ned retires, I'm in there.
Yeah, and within 2 months, I'm watching our heads get chopped off in front of everyone. So that would probably
King's
be me in
Landing?
the Game of Thrones. So I'm probably not going to say Game of Thrones. I mean, my favourite series of all time is Band of Brothers. And
you really going to go into a war zone?
But no, I mean, I've always wondered what I'd be like in a war zone when you watch those programs. But I'm not sure I'd want to do what they did because it was unbelievable. What would I trapped in a TV show? You know what? How I Met Your Mother.
Really? That is so torturous.
Why?
That show is awful.
Oh, I love that show.
That's worse than Friends, that show.
No, because then I could be friends with Marshall, and then they seem to get on all right. They seem to be able to earn enough money to live in a very nice apartment in New York, on both Friends and New York.
Yeah, they always do.
Friends and
New York.
So, I'm going to go for How I Met Your Mother. It's a bit of a
I'd go for something like £1 Million Drop or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Because if I'm in there for a month...
You could get some great pub quiz knowledge by being on the chase for
at least once, the chase.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming I'm just going to be repeated on it constantly. That's how I've seen it, Chloe. Yeah. But for a challenge, I'd probably choose something like The Last of Us or The Boys.
A Quiet Place?
Something like, something
well, that's not a TV series, but...
Something that way it would be like a real... Do you die...
Oh, Stranger Things.
Yeah, like if you die in the show, do you die in real life type thing? Put a bit element of real jeopardy in there.
I hope not, because I've just said I lost my head again, friends.
Chloe, we need a bit more on this bone.
Stranger Things would be good, but I think I'd die in Stranger Things quite a bit.
We need a bit more flesh on this bone, I think.
Yeah.
Do you die when you're in there? There's no point in you messaging in again, Chloe, because we don't know when we're doing a mailbag again.
Just message us privately.
Yeah, whenever it comes back round,
DM us on Twitter.
Just come back to us. But no, I'd probably choose something where it'd be quite difficult or a challenge to survive. So I'd probably say Walking Dead or something like that, where there's zombies. And then Chloe goes on to ask, would you rather live in a world where there is no music or in a world where there's no films?
No films.
Easy for me. Because when you watch a film, what makes it funny, sad, depressing is the music. Yeah. Music makes the world go round, my friend. And she also says, love the pod, which we always have to add in that Steve Wright manner. That was easy. Lewis asks, when watching the Euros, it just makes me jealous of rugby league not having something similar. What's going on with our game? I think we just discussed that.
We kind of did.
We just said,
let's
what's
put
going
the
on
caveat
with
on
this game's been wrong for years.
Lewis has sent this message before England just got past Slovakia this evening.
As we record this.
So there is nothing jealous of about what I've seen of England. And my own nation's not even in it, which is like rugby league as well, to be fair, which is Wales. So, yeah, look, we've kind of discussed it already, Lewis, but yeah, the international game is just, we had something great. I don't think they realised it or we realised it. And now it's not here. I miss it massively.
I'm just jealous of any sport that I watch that has big crowds and razzmatazz and means a lot to whoever. So if it's IPL in India, big crowds, razzmatazz means a lot. If it's the State of Origin, similar again.
Yeah.
If it's the NFL, if it's golf, whatever, boxing, football, particularly international, I just like, why can't that be us? That's what kills me. I'm just thinking, we know how great this game is, but I don't feel anyone else does, or we don't do enough to make them care. But Lewis, it's the $1 million question, mate. Joel says, with lots of our academy players at the Rhinos signing long-term deals this week, do you think things are starting to feel different? Has the blaster effect started taking place already?
I'm really upset that Blaster's sticking.
It is.
Like, this needs to stop, Joel. This is you're now part of this now.
Joel.
That cannot happen again. If you ever send a question to the mailbag and that goes straight, anyone else that's listening, do not encourage him and do not let it happen.
I think it's done.
No,
I've seen comments on YouTube and on the live chat.
No,
Blaster.
it's not.
It's here.
It's not.
It's here.
Well, I'm back now. So stop it, everyone.
So Blaster, has he had do you feel he's having an effect taking place already, or do you think this is just quite coincidental?
Has Ian Blease had an effect? Look, I think some of these deals have been in the pipeline already.
Seems that way.
I'd be very impressed with him just to bash out 15 deals straight away, or to get a grasp of the youngsters and to get a handle on that. So I think these deals will be either already been agreed or in the pipeline from that basis. So look, I think Ian Blease's true effect or will come with the new coach appointment, and what happens from there, and also what happens with the players that are currently going off contract and what he brings in. So I think we'll see the most of his impact later on.
Off the back of that,
15 academy players, 4 of which have already played
for the first
team. So I think there was big deals for Riley Lum. I think had 4 year. I think
Riley, Ned,
Edgell and Ned had 3 years. Tom Nicholson Watton got a 2 year. The biggest one went to Castle, the loose forward. He had a 5 year deal, and they must rate him
very high.
Very, very, very highly, which is exciting.
You can only assume these things were in the pipeline because Blaster's only just come in, so the club must have been like, these are all prepped and ready to go, and whether he said yeah and pushed the button or signed them off or improved one or two.
But it is great. I mean, we kind of joked about it a couple of pods ago when we're like, next generation of players coming through, but that back line at the moment in terms of 5 years down the line, Edgell at fullback,
it's another golden generation.
Ryan
the platinum
Lum,
generation are on the way.
Riley Lum, Max Simpson, Ned McCormack, Fergus, Jack Sinfield,
Morg.
Tom Nicholson Watton, if his Castle as good as I say he is.
Littlewood.
When he came out with the team, I thought he was a senior player, and I thought, who's he?
Based.
And I'm like, and then I realised that's him.
Based.
He's already of a size of a senior player, so God knows what it'll be like when he's been on the Max Simpson gym diet over the off season.
Yeah.
There was also a familiar name, familiar surname in the 15 academy players, wasn't there? Another fullback.
Diskin.
His shirt, the shirt is behind you. That is another eBay find, by the way. Matt Diskin's testimonial shirt. But his son signed a deal as well, didn't he?
Yeah, another Disco.
But 15 players must say there's confidence in the people that are coming through, which is lovely and great to hear. And I just certainly hope we get to see some more of them, because you look at the performances of Edgell and Ned in particular against
Riley, even that one game,
Riley
looked
was
absolutely outstanding.
So
that was one game where he crushed it.
Yeah, so there is, obviously we've seen it, some of the talent. I just hope we get to see a bit more of it blended in through in the next.
I think it's an easy decision for the club to make. It's good news to release, makes everyone feel good, and not just the players but us as fans, because there's nothing more satisfying than seeing an academy player break into the side, stick there like Ash, like Harry, like Cam, and it just feels, we've said it loads, but it just feels like this academy coming through, I feel like next year, years to come, it's going to be filled with these academy players, which is what we need to get back to, because it's what made us so great. We gave all the golden generation their chance, so it's time for these kids to get their chance.
I think Blease did mention something about that in an interview, was that we can't be relying on these 1 year contracts and these fillers. We've got to bring these people through, and Ashley's still 27, Cammy's still 24, 25. And again, I'm making this up, say confidently, nothing that's true. Jared, fairly young still. In fact, he's still really. I think he's 23.
He's 24.
There's still a lot of players that are in the
Brody
team.
Crofty is 20.
but there are players, aren't there? Newman still
20.
still young, 23.
23.
Gannon 20.
20.
Aledzki's still got
Let's just
plenty
do
of
the
legs in him.
squad.
But that's what I'm saying. That if these players can reach their potential that hopefully they have,
Playing
then moulding
together.
in with that experience.
Yeah.
Hopefully, in theory, it means you just as long as you put the right quota spots in the right place, we should
You're just
be.
sprinkling that razzmatazz and stardust.
And that's Belize's. That will be his effect.
I think so.
That's what he has to manage with obviously the leadership and of whoever coach he brings in,
And the quarter cap. And the salary cap.
which they are looking at changing, aren't they?
They are.
Which means Rhys Martin actually wouldn't be on the quota
That's
spot.
the interesting thing about Rhys.
And I don't think Momorowski would be either. I think he's got a grandparent that's...
Really? Yeah, we've got to scramble around for like a Scottish or Irish.
I mean, they do it in rugby league
grandparent
anyway,
way
don't
back
they?
when.
Like, did you have a great-great-grandfather that was half Scottish?
Did you?
Yes.
That once said he liked iron brew.
the one that stepped into Scotland one time. He can play for
Yeah,
Scotland.
did you have an auntie that once considered going on holiday to Ireland? You did. Perfect. Just sign here. You are now off
Have you
our
ever booked a
quarter
flight with
spot.
Ryanair? Yes, you can play for
There
Ireland
you
too.
go. He's Irish. He's flown twice with Ryanair. Sorry, Jet 2. Bianca Marsh to finish up. Thanks everybody for submitting. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you to Statman Rhys on his return for another fab mailbag. Bianca Marsh has the last question. And Bianca says, I was not happy to see the Rhinos players away on holiday yet again this past week. I don't think it is acceptable for them to have their feet up when our form is so bad. See you, everybody.
Well, I'll respond to this. I think that this week in particular, it would always been slated as a week off. England versus France. It was a weekend off for everyone. It was always going to be a potential for players to have a week off.
Absolutely.
So, unfortunately, we've had weekends off because we haven't been in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, because I've been crap.
And these guys, they do work hard. Where people might not believe it sometimes, but they will work hard and want to spend time with their families as much as everyone else does.
Absolutely.
Now, I know it's probably not, as a fan, especially when we haven't been as good, it does feel a bit like a kick in the teeth. I can understand that a little bit. But I think they need, and after the league game, they needed to go away anyway, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I think they would have done a debrief, they'd have done a whatever. Obviously, Harry and Ash went off of England. But the emotion of that game, the build up to that game, Rowan going as well, it was an emotional 2 to 3 week period for those players. And let's not forget, a lot of them either played or were coached by Rob as well.
Yeah.
So they would have, you saw the emotion from Brodie after 6 months at the club.
Yeah.
Imagine some of the players that have been there and were with him. So, look, we can't begrudge him for taking time off this week, especially when it was always going to be a week off. But I can also understand a bit of the sentiment sometimes. The other weekends we shouldn't have had off because we should have been in the cup.
Should have been in the cup. Yeah, I kind of agree with them. But then, if you're at work and you're performing well, you're working well, you look at it to think, I deserve time off because I've worked hard. So you think to yourself, right, I've worked hard. That's my week off. Whatever your line of work is, you take that week off. You think that's well earned rest because I've been working hard. Now the flip side of that is
you might need a break.
If you're exhausted, underperforming, frazzled, overworked, you also look and think, I need a break. I need to switch off, get away from it, and come back. That's exactly the same for any sportsman. So the Rhinos players, if they're bad out of form, they'll think, need some time away, reset, and again, we often joke about it, but I think it's whether you're winning or losing, I think any opportunity the players can to get away, to turn themselves off, to get with the families.
And it's not like they're on
I'm all for it.
72-hour bender in a beaver.
And it isn't exactly. It's not going to change
look
how
at Mick's
they
Instagram.
are.
He's always with his kids.
They've got families,
he's
they
going on
wanna
holiday
get
with his
away.
kids.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff with his kids. I'm
They
never
do a
going to
lot
begrudge
for
anyone
us.
that
No.
does that.
I disagree, Bianca. I think they should get away as often as they can. That's the mailbag, everyone. It was nice to have it back. I enjoyed that. Nice, refreshing questions and only a few Rhinos based.
I think the league game, it feels a bit of a reset for me. So this is
Reset
actually quite
9.2.
It's also so it's quite good to have the mailbag for us because it's kind of like, well, The league game was amazing. I mean, I could talk about that league game for hours and hours on end. But yeah, I think like this mailbag's come at quite an opportune time. Actually,
I agree.
We haven't got any news from the club, and I don't think we're getting any this week by the sound of things. So, an opportune time.
Yeah, to fit one in. Thanks everybody
Until
for listening.
Brad Arthur is hired.
Until Brad comes in a week or so's time. Thanks for watching. If you are watching on YouTube and you've not subscribed, well, why? Go click the button now. Click the subscribe button.
What are we up to now?
600 and something by the time you've all subscribed. 900 and something as we crawl our way to 1,000 subscribers.
Because there are 40% of people that watch these videos that haven't subscribed.
Which drives me insane. 40% of people. Just go and subscribe. Also, rate us 5-star on Spotify if you think we're worth it. We are. And leave us a review on iTunes as well. It just boosts us up, the podcast charts more than you would know. If you enjoy what me, Rhys, Chris and the regulars do, please also consider subscribing to our Patreon page. All of our content will always remain free. The Patreon page is just there just to chuck us a couple of quid if you want to support us in that way, but all of our content will always be free.
And it does help us because, for example, this mic here was bought partly from contributions from Patreon.
Yes,
so that's where the money goes. Proof in the pudding. It's equipment to help us sound better, move the podcast forward, and make it better for you guys.
Where we are sat is down to contributions and sponsorships and things. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you. When are we back?
London
review? Midweek roundup?
We'll do a midweek roundup.
Midweek roundup.
And then we've got the match review. When do we play? Saturday afternoon. Oh, it's a Saturday afternoon kick-off, 3 o'clock.
Yeah. See?
Oh.
We're producing this as we record.
Rhys is going to be hungover on the Sunday.
And also we'll be back in the studio to review the London game. Take care, everybody.